Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for this kind introduction. It's always a pleasure to get the wake-up session. My name is Darius Moeini. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, and as you can tell, it's been mostly crap. It's been a brutal experience, entrepreneurship. I started my first company 10 years ago. I came to Berlin from New York City and put all of my money and experience and time into my first company. Within 7 months, we crashed and burned into the wall. It was absolutely glorious. The failure was so hard, it was glorious. I've fell in love with this process so much that I've kept doing it. Most of the projects were crap, some of them were good, and I hope that today I can share some of my learnings and my convictions about entrepreneurship and innovation for you in the smart city context. Who are we? We are NUMA. We are a global innovation accelerator for startups and corporates. We were born in Paris about 18 years ago, and now global. We're in Paris, Berlin, Barcelona, Mexico City, New York City, and more. What do? Our DNA is startup acceleration. We've accelerated hundreds of startups over the last few years, and we've pivoted recently to support larger organizations in trainings and transformation programs and innovation programs. Having been in the startup environment for 10 years, we have gotten a bit tired of stupid ideas. I cannot listen to one more Tinder for three-legged dogs or the next Uber for X and Uber for Y. That does not make sense. We have committed ourselves to a conviction, to a purpose, to a mission, which is to support and empower entrepreneurs and innovators to solve problems that really matter. No more Tinders for three-legged dogs, more stuff that is going to make a change in our lives. In this context, we came upon smart cities. You've heard, you've seen, you've read the statistics 1,000 times. 6.3 billion people will live urban by the year 2050. That's 70% of humanity. We say this so lightly, like it's some sort of statistic, but 70% of humans will live in an urban environment. That means also 70% or more of the energy that we consume or use are going to be urban. What does that mean for us as innovators? We are the ones who have to do something with this. The smart city is a fantastic, a glorious opportunity to work on things that matter, to accelerate impactful innovation that can be scaled immediately. It is a glorious opportunity to dive deeper and double down on what we call to unfuck the planet. And we all should try to unfuck the planet every day of our life. So we launched DATACITY. DATACITY is a smart city innovation program at the intersection of startups, corporates, and cities. Of course, it's multi-stakeholder, it's data-driven, and problem-first. We'll get to that in a minute. I would like to take the opportunity, because what we're telling you is to work together with corporates and startups and cities. You have to work together. We want to have a look at what that actually means and how we could make that work. So I want to take a few minutes to shed some light on what we think about startups, corporates, and cities, and hopefully also make fun of everyone a little bit. Let's start with the startups. They're the easiest target to make fun of. Every stereotype that you have heard about startups, they're all true. Every single ridiculous stereotype, it's all true. The vegan hipster from Berlin Mitte developing some random app, it's true. The Kreuzberg hipster, it's true. The annoying Silicon Valley entrepreneur, it's true. It's exactly that. Sometimes it's ridiculous. It's like we are a parody of ourselves. But it's been fun, I have to admit. Because at the end of the day, whatever stereotype of the startup industry is true, one thing is the thing that is the most distinctive about our life. It is that we have speed, we have velocity. There is, of course, 1,000 nuances between what is a corporate, what is a startup. But at the end of the day, if we boil it down to what is it that makes us different in the startup scene, is velocity, which is a glorious thing to have. If you're a hungry person, this is not about being young or old. This is not about being an entrepreneur or an innovator. It's about being hungry, and if you're hungry, you want speed. And this is what we can give you in the startup environment. However, we also have no idea what we're doing. That's the other side of the medal. We may understand digital. We may be fast, we may be agile, but we're also fragile. We have a lot of online know-how, but we do not understand how to navigate in the offline world. We do not understand that. We do not understand how to lead a company. We do not understand how to scale a company. So you have to be honest about who you are, about what you do. As a startup, you have these trade-offs. You are agile, but you're fragile. You are digital, but you have no offline know-how. You have a strong culture, but a weak organization. You have amazing economic opportunities, but you have high failure rates. That is the life of a startup. Now, let's look at corporations. They've been around for a long time. Everything is completely oiled. Everything runs smoothly for a long, long, long time. But we're being disrupted from every corner, from every angle of the industry. The Ubers, the Netflixes, the Airbnbs. I'm not even going to start with the Kodaks of this world. Even currencies are being disrupted. Machine learning is changing the way we think about technology. The disruption is coming from every angle as a corporation. That's why every self-respecting corporate executive keeps telling you every day, we have to become more agile, we have to become more open to risk, we have to become more fast and bring more digital drive into what we do. But, of course, the corporates are still the successful ones. Right? So we have to be honest about it. As a startup entrepreneur, I'm not going to stand in front of a bunch of corporates, we're going to kill you. You're still growing and you're profitable and you know it. So we have to be honest about what we're good at and what we're not good at. Knowing that this is the startup world and this is the corporate world, we have been, as facilitators in the ecosystem, Berlin is very strong in this, been preaching one thing: work together. Corporates and startups. We've all heard it. You've heard the keynote about this yesterday. Corporates and startups, put them together, amazing things can happen. The truth is, most of the time it doesn't, right? However, if done right, I strongly believe that it can. So if done right, it's amazing to work together, but it's difficult. Now, in a smart city context, we're actually saying, put the city to it as well. I don't know, I'm from Germany. Are most people here from Germany? Anybody not from Germany? Okay, most people here are not from Germany. Excellent. So I don't know how it is in your countries. In Germany, it is a national pastime to make fun of the administration, to complain about the slowness of bureaucracy, to complain about the complexity. Nobody wants to work with the city. Everybody makes fun. No, never start doing a business or any innovation project together with the city. What if I told you that the government is not another company? What if I told you that the paradigms that count in the world of administration are different than the paradigms that a Siemens or a Mercedes-Benz or an Audi has? We cannot compare the work of a city administration with the work in the organizational process of a B2B world. So we need to stop being so arrogant in the corporate world. We're so arrogant about the city, but it's wrong. They have a different paradigm. They're supposed to be the voice of every single citizen in your country, in your city. So stop being so arrogant about it. They have a much more difficult task than you. Bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. What is bureaucracy? Why is there bureaucracy? What does bureaucracy do? It prevents corruption. It's beautiful. I'm from Germany. I love this country because everything is fantastic in the administration. Yes, it may take 2 weeks longer than in Mexico to do something, but at least I know it's a fantastic, glorious lifestyle, business or private, in this kind of setup. So I'm not going to complain about the city and the bureaucracy of it. So, thank you. Join me on stage, please. So, we want you to work together, startups, corporates, in the city, which sounds absolutely impossible, right? And I think it is also, to a certain extent, but we all can move towards this and try some stuff out. So I want to share a few thoughts on your smart city journey if you want to collaborate. Now, this is right for both corporates and startups. This is also right for corporates with corporates, and also with the inclusion of the city. I have 5 thoughts for you. Are you with me still? Yeah? Excellent. Number 1, the last 15 years were in my professional life. Everybody keeps talking about breaking the silos. And we've heard it a million times. We've all heard it a million times. Mobility is in their silo, in your silo. Energy is in their silo. Buildings are in their silo. Everybody talks about breaking these silos, but I think actually nobody does, for a good reason. Because we've all been busy becoming digital silos. From mobility is moving to smart mobility. Energy is moving to smart energy. Construction and buildings is moving to smart home and smart buildings. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's fantastic. We have to become smart in our industries, but we have not broken the silos yet. So, I think it is a great opportunity now that all of the industries are becoming smart, are becoming more connected, to think on the meta level, because everything in an urban context is connected. Mobility, logistics, buildings, construction, healthcare, waste management, water management, all of these things in a dense area, all becoming connected. It's an amazing opportunity to think on a meta level, to accelerate and scale our innovation ambitions. You guys are mobility, right? So let's look at this mobility thing. We talk about this mobility, connected mobility all the time. The connected car, the connected mobility will require smart parking. Smart parking can be in smart buildings. Smart buildings will require smart energy. Energy will require smart recycling. So, and this will all flow into the city planning of digitalized administrations. So why not from the very get-go think about it as a connected city instead of a connected mobility environment, and maybe open and widen our horizon in terms of how to innovate, the scope of innovation. So open innovation, obviously, to do this, open innovation is at the heart of this entire operation. It's at the heart of urban digitalization. And that's easy said. Everybody likes to say we're an open, innovative company, but most of them are not. So put some effort, really evaluate as a company, as an organization, if you really are a collaborative company. It's so easily said, it's so difficult to do. So, tip number 1, be a collaborative company. Number 2, what do you see here? By the way, these are all randomly chosen logos. I have nothing to do with them, so randomly chosen. What do you see? Vodafone, telecommunication company. MyTaxi, mobility company with taxis. Metro, retail. Energy, Vonovia, buildings. MasterCard, finance. Car2Go, mobility. In a connected world, to me, all of these are data companies. This is telecommunication data. This is mobility data. This is renters data, retail data, energy consumption data, financial transactions data. So in a connected world, we need to change the paradigm how we look at a company. Not every big company now is the company of what they actually do, plus whatever data they have. And it's difficult to do, actually, because why? Because data is dirty. For a lot of different and obvious reasons. For a lot of obvious reasons, it's icky to work with data. It's icky to think about data. It's icky to even try to collaborate on data. I don't think that's the right way to think about it, though. If we keep thinking data is dirty, certain people will continue owning the data. Certain people will be strong in data, and we're just going to run behind trying to delete all of the emails that we get because of the new GDPR thing. That's the most data thing we do now. So if we think about data in a different way, if we become a bit more inspirational, if we go into the lead to change the way we handle data, we can actually make it happen. We can use data for good. We can use data to create innovation that is good and beneficial for the citizen, for the customer, for humans. So please join me in stopping and demystifying data, making it less dirty and making it something that can be beneficial for humans, actually. So use data for good. And my second tip is become a data company. Number 3. Okay, I'm a little bit in the shark's den now. You've all heard this one. We're in Germany, so we're going to have to say it. Obviously, Mercedes-Benz makes the best cars in the world. Hey, was that the same guy? Was it the same, or was it a different guy? Excellent. Obviously, Mercedes-Benz makes the best cars in the world. Oh, if you're team Audi, fine, yeah. Okay. As long as it's German, I'm with you. I'm not speaking as a professional now, I'm speaking as a citizen. Of course, the German cars are the best in the world. Of course, Mercedes-Benz is the best car. But if you ask me what car do you want right now, I'm going to tell you I want a Tesla. You all know that. You all know that. But we just said Mercedes-Benz is the best car in the world. Why do we want a Tesla? Because we want the software. Yes, I'm sure 1,000 people here now will disagree vehemently against what I'm going to say. The car is becoming a commodity. Every hardware, every piece of hardware is becoming a commodity. Yes, sure, there will be some differences, but at the end of the day, the value creation will lie in the software on top. So, and that means you have to become a software company. Even if you're not a software company, you have to become a software company. You know the difference between a software company and a non-software company? Is if you do the software in your IT department. Most companies that we work with, they have an IT department, and this is the software. No, the software is a business unit. It's not a service unit. It's a business unit. So, become a software company. One of the most beautiful vehicles ever produced, the 747. Gorgeous, isn't it? Strong, it's big, it's powerful, it makes sense, it's sexy. I want it. I want a 747. It's a glorious piece of vehicle. Just like your transformation strategy. It's huge. It's wonderful. I get it. I get that corporates think in terms of big projects. You're used to the fiscal year and the budgeting, and you have to get some budgets for this and that, and then you think in year-long terms, because this is how you think in budgeting terms, and fiscal terms, and P&L terms. But innovation, especially in the digital world, happens so much easier if you act small. It's fine to think big. Your transformation strategy is wonderful, but it should only be the first day of the year. 364 years, you have to do micro-innovation, otherwise you get nowhere, especially in an open innovation context. You can't only think in big projects because that makes it complicated, it makes it difficult, and it makes it harder to collaborate and come to terms. So, yes, have your big transformation strategy, but also celebrate micro-experimentations. We do this in the startup world all the time. The city does not get that. They always want to have one big project, one big project. Many corporates want one big project, one transformation plan. You should have 10 small ones. Maybe somebody at some point has to think on the meta level, but at the end of the day, we will have much faster collaboration opportunities if we think in smaller projects. So, celebrate micro-experimentation. Number 5. We've all been telling you we must become more customer-centric. We must become more customer-centric. And we're all trying, and we're all doing a good job. I have experienced a whole different change of mindset within big corporations over the last 3 or 4 years on how to put the customer more into the focus. It's been great. But in an open innovation context, it gets difficult because a lot of different people have a lot of different stakeholders. They have different agendas. They have different objectives. And it's very, very difficult to find a common ground. So, you've heard this 1,000 times, and I apologize if I'm being redundant, but I think it's worthy to say this again. Think not in your solutions, think in problems. To think in problems and not your solutions, that is the language of an innovator, that is the basis of finding collaboration and a common denominator with all of your potential partners. Small projects focusing on problems is the solution to all of this complex open innovation. So, 5 tips on how to become more agile in your smart city journey. I don't want to leave before I give you some examples of what I think is a smart city project. Because most people, when they hear smart city, they think of big infrastructure, huge projects. They think of trains, digital trains, and whole new buildings that are completely connected. I look at it a bit differently. And I want to give you 3 use cases that we've built in the context of our DATACITY program. Number 1, adapting street lighting to traffic. It's so simple, but at the end of the day, a couple of companies, Bouygues, SFR is a telecom company, Quantimetry, and DataIQ, 4 companies, 2 corporates, 2 startups from Paris, collaborated with the city of Paris to develop a model that lets you detect when and where to dim down the lights, the traffic lights. Not the traffic lights, the street lights. Super simple. But what happened is that we detected there is a huge potential to save a lot of energy for the city. It's a small thing. We can dim the lights when there is no traffic. We use telecommunication data and sensor data for this. Small project, amazing impact, micro impact, a few million euros of energy saved. Why not? It doesn't have to be a flying train or something. Smart city can be a small project that makes a little bit of a difference. Second use case, predicting waste collection times. I don't know if there's any French people here from Paris. In Paris, you have to bring out your bin, and you get a time slot of 4 hours to know when the truck is coming to pick up your bin, which of course is not optimal for sanitary reasons. And what happened is that Suez, a waste management company in France, together with the startup Craft AI, developed, in collaboration with the city of Paris, a model. The website is online right now that used a bunch of different data from different data nodes, data points, to reduce the time slot from 4 hours to 2 hours. Not very sexy, but quite effective. So smart city for me is about these small micro improvements of the urban life. Again, don't think of it as the huge, big flying train, but micro improvements in the urban life. Last use case, urban planning impact on logistics. We all use Amazon now all the time. Delivery in urban regions has gone up quite a bit. At the same time, big cities are changing, which means restructuring of streets or just closing down for construction reasons. The street has a big impact on delivery companies. So one of the projects that came out of DATACITY is that La Poste, together with the other partners, Colisweb and CETEC, together with the city of Paris, developed a tool based on data and predictions and data modeling, what impact closing streets on the delivery logistics will have on the environment of the closing of the street. Again, not the sexy, super sexy flying train, but micro improvement for B2B and government in the smart city context. We have just, as advertised, launched our program here in Berlin. We have two different things what we're doing in the smart city context. We have a collaboration and an ideation network where we bring different corporates and city stakeholders and startups together to ideate on new micro innovations. And we have actual common projects that we do within 9 months, in a 9 months design thinking program focused on the problem. Within 9 months, we will build a prototype that can test the actual solution to a specific problem. We have amazing partners. We have Alba Recycling, we have Mercedes-Benz, we have Here Technologies, even the Alba Berlin basketball team, that's pretty amazing, and Fiesmann, and of course, several stakeholders of the city of Berlin. So if you're interested in this, feel free to reach out anytime. I thank you very much for your attention.